Welcome to Oral Hygiene, where we talk about caught and educational films. I'm saying caught because it's a pretty much the definition of a caught film today.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, this is Matt here. That is Andrew there. Hi,
I'm Andrew here. Hi.
hello. Okay,
Hello.
yes, it is Jack Hill's Switchblade Sisters. I mean,
Yeah.
it is the picture you put in the next to the dictionary thing for this sort of thing, you know?
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. And there's really only two kinds of people when it comes to movie fans: those who adore Switchblade Sisters and those who have never seen it.
Yeah, okay, that probably makes sense. Although, some grandmas don't want to see it. Probably,
Oh,
I can understand that.
yeah. I recommend they do.
Good family viewing.
Switchblade grandmas. They could make that now. They're all the cast who's still alive is they're all in their 70s or something, and then that
Oh
would be
yeah,
great.
for this crew, yeah, sure, that would be awesome. I don't know.
Yeah.
Depends on how that rolls. Like the
Yeah.
Expendables
Jack is still alive, and did I tell you this? He lives in Decatur.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's what is his scenes never actually like Hollywood. He's always off in the rough houses, yeah.
I mean, Jack Hill never, yeah, he never went Hollywood. He was strictly independent his whole career.
When where did you get on board with this? Were you did you get on the at the VHS station or the Tarantino putting the stuff out station or
It was like, you got a sense of Pam Grier by watching the like women in prison movies and stuff.
Hmm.
But Switchblade Sisters was like pretty rare. And so I had seen Pam Grier movies, but I didn't even think of Jack Hill. I didn't connect him with movies like Spider Baby that were just super old and, considered cult classics. I didn't know that the same guy made Spider Baby, made Foxy Brown, and I had never heard of Switchblade Sisters until Rolling Thunder. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, once you start noticing the same name keeps popping up in all the credits of you know the groovy cult films exploitation. I guess it counts as exploitation, but for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, and I was so glad to see him recognized in his lifetime, you know.
Right. He's
'Cause-
indicator or dead indicator.
no, he lives in
Okay,
Decatur.
okay. So he can make a switchblade grandmas then. Okay.
He could. I
So
wouldn't dare suggest it to him because the few exchanges he and I have had on Messenger, he's a little curmudgeonly.
so can you tell us what happens in this one?
Okay, so Switchblade Sisters takes place in high school, and it's sort of almost like a future. I think it's supposed to be set in the high school of the future because it's not exactly a completely recognizable 1970, was it 75? And so but it's about a new girl that comes to school, played by Joanne Nall, Maggie, and she finds herself in the middle of this gang war between was it the Daggers and Mr. Krabs.
Yeah. The Krabby Shack guy. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy who's like the 40-year-old in high school or whatever. I mean, he looks like the monkey's like reject cousin.
But then he's like running for mayor or something.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's supposed to be in high school.
Maybe he's just a super senior.
Yeah. After 10 years, they make you a super senior. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's some knife fighting. Is there more do you want to add than that? There's some knife fights
There's
with
knife
with
fights,
switchblades.
and yeah, and there's a black woman militia.
Right. Well, that's where the movie really catches fire. Well, it catches fire when it becomes a women's in prison movie for a total of 5 minutes.
Yeah, it does, but those 5 minutes are, I mean, I'll go ahead and say this. Switchblade Sisters is in my top 10 of all time. It's stayed there for decades now at this point. It just I never don't want to see it.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of even very good like exploitation films kind of grindhouse, right? It just keeps grinding on in its milieu. Where this one,
Yeah,
changes it up every few minutes. So yeah, you get the
it's
weird
true.
militia movie, you get the bad kids in high school movie, you get the women's prison, and then you just get a switchblade fight at the end. So
Yeah, no, that's what I love about Jack Hill. He could make really any style. And but you could always feel when it was his movie, because movies like this that came out around the time, they might have looked kind of like his, but his were always like seriously good. Like you could show somebody just a regular exploitation movie of the time, and it would drag in places. It had padding in places. It had, maybe way too much music, or the acting was a little hammy. But Jack Hill, people would watch it, and at first they were laughing at the hair and the clothes and all that stuff, and maybe even some of the over the top delivery. Particularly like Robbie Lee as Lace, where she says every line through her teeth. But by the middle, or definitely by the third act, people are watching it like it just a movie that just came out. It's that good. Jack Hill did have, I'm sure you'll agree, he had the chops to make good Hollywood movies, but he didn't want to play around with their stuff.
yeah,
He didn't
that's what I
want
was
to.
saying here. Like, did he actually make anything in the umbrella? Which I guess he didn't. But you see it and you're like, yeah, obviously the guy has some craft.
Yeah, yeah. He just wanted to make movies about women, tough women. He wanted to make movies about black lives and black characters, and that at the time was not what the major studios wanted to do. So he had more control over his films as an independent, and they all made money as far as I know.
Something I noticed watching it this time around, I haven't seen as many times as I'm guessing you have. This was probably number 3 or 4 for me, right? But are there like random farts dubbed onto the soundtrack?
It's not that I've noticed. When was an instance where you thought there might have been a random fart?
Let's see. When they were fighting, I wrote, did I just hear a fart in the kerfuffle? I think when they're in the prison.
Hmm.
Later, there is the one kid in the classroom, I think, is doing the hand farts. So that was
Oh, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
But so at
But
what point in the prison?
when they're kerfuffling, I guess when they're getting the warden down or whatever, or the
Huh?
guard. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe she farts as they're slamming her to the ground or something.
that would be great. I'll have to check that out. I know exactly where that is in the movie, so I have to. That would be great. Oh man, I
Yeah, let's
always
see.
think movies could use more farts. I mean, even ones that have a lot.
Yeah. Well, what who is it? Was it John Waters that said every movie needs a midget or a vomit scene?
I suppose that sounds about like something John Waters would say, and
Which you'll find is
I'm
often true. And when a movie Fear and Loathing has a midget and a vomit scene multiple
yeah,
times.
yeah. No, I mean vomit stuff. I mean, I know all his movies have some vomit, which is, I mean, that's a real necessary thing. I always like a movie more if there's vomiting in it.
Right. I guess a few of the things that do date this movie in a perfectly fine way. The racket at the roller rink. Yeah.
Mm.
So now the thing I found weird, you'd think they'd be playing like ABBA or something at the roller rink, and it's like creepy organ music. And they're just skating
Yeah,
around to creepy organ music. Like, what's up with that?
yeah, no, and apparently that rink still exists.
Do you know where?
I mean, it's somewhere in the Los Angeles area. I was told about it by someone who had gone to birthday parties there.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was like, wow, that would be interesting to go there. I don't know how to skate, but it's like, would you bring like have a water gun fight just as a tribute?
Well, I talked to another, maybe with you on another episode about my bus driving in Pennsylvania, where I'd have to like slam the bus down the mountain to get up the next one because the bus was so old. And I was
I don't think
taking
you weren't talking to me about that.
okay. Anyway, yeah, I was taking kids to the roller rink, and the roller rink was like completely stuck in 1975. It was
They
awesome.
usually are. They
Yeah.
usually are. Skate Town here in Athens, um, where the Classic City Roller Girls do their like all
Thing.
their practices and stuff.
Mm.
That place just looks, feels, and smells like it's like walking into like a time warp. It's
Yeah.
just wild. Yeah, and complete with like the arcade games.
And we're kind of bringing that up because in another spot we just get some like class A 70s industrial funk. So
It's true.
so it's like the soundtrack's not lacking. So I'm like, why are we dancing around to like creepy organ music in the roller rink? Maybe because they're about to have a fight. I don't know. Maybe it's a filmmaking choice, but
Yeah, I mean, I think you always look at it. You look at the music more than I do, and so whereas I am just sort of like absorbed in the entirety of it, I think you can kind of just isolate that and look at it. And, I think I know which scenes you're talking about. And next time I watch this, and perhaps forever, I'll be looking for the farts and for the
the
maybe
funk,
inappropriate score.
farts and funk. Oh, the
Yeah,
70s industrial funk's right on, man.
yeah.
But yeah, when they do fall in after that, they fall in with the militia, which another thing that I kind of think dates it is you get that very like little red book mouse speech, which I don't think anyone would give now.
Yeah, Mao says true power comes from the barrel of a gun or whatever.
Right,
But
right.
uh back then, and I should say the militia is led by Marlena Clark, who is in the movie. I think I have the t-shirt on. Ganja and Hess, the great Bill Gunn vampire movie, opposite Dwayne Jones.
All right.
Um, yeah, that it really becomes like one of Jack Hill's older films during that section. It's almost like Jack just throws on one of his old hits. But that whole the militant sector, whatever, I think he felt like he was representing that somehow, shining light on it in a positive way, because they were doing what Crabs pretended to be doing for the
Right.
community.
No, it's cool. It's just yeah, quoting Mao, seems a little now that we know what happened in the Cultural Revolution and all.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like you're
No,
not
it's true.
not choosing. I mean, just quote Marx if you really want to go for it.
Yeah, but I think back then though it was more of just like making people think. These people, this wasn't a bunch of like criminals or whatever. They actually had, even if it was misguided.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it. That it's just the way that just I'm looking for ways that date the film because, like you said, as a film, it doesn't really date. So I'm kind of picking
No,
at the cultural artifacts.
yeah, and no, you're totally right. And you know, I don't know if this is my favorite Jack Hill movie anymore, but it's just one of my favorite movies, period.
Yeah. Now, in that same scene, I kept thinking that the lady in the back of the shot was Spider-Man
Why?
because she's got like a red hood and a red shirt, and it like is
I
kind of
guess so.
looking over, and that's like just 3 times during that scene. I was like, "That's Spider. Wait, why would Spider-Man be here?" Just also, I was talking to Luke a few days ago where he's like, I'm disappointed with any movie that doesn't have Spider-Man in it, even if it was made in like 1935. Where's Spider-Man? So I was just thinking, oh,
Why not?
there's kind of Spider-Man. That I mean, it's a lady, and that's a part of the
Yeah.
militia, but whatever.
Yeah, it was Marjorie Spiderman that you were
Yes,
seeing.
yes. um, Another not quite anachronism, I guess, is when you do see their armored car, it made me think of like Mad Max territory, like the first one.
Yeah, yeah. That was a real surprise, wasn't it? They just come out blasting from that thing. It's got those iron windows or whatever. They got the hole cut out in the cross for the machine gun to come through.
Yeah, I love that. Um, and then I finally got around to season 3 of Cobra Kai. I don't know if you've been watching that show at all.
I don't know.
Okay,
No.
they just a few things connected there. That uh, Johnny's drink of choice is Coors Banquet, and there's a scene where they're all drinking Coors Banquet or something. I think it was definitely Coors. I don't know if it's a banquet or not, but it's kind of a yellow can that you see
Uh-huh.
in there. And then the one thing that deflated the fight at the end is having finished season 2, where there's like the most insane karate battle in a school ever. The end of Switchblade Sisters didn't quite measure up to that anymore.
No, I mean, at its core, I believe Jack Hill was wanting to make a Shakespearean tragedy out of it, you know. And Patch's character, she's played by Monica Gale. Um, that character, there's that whole thing about, and I love that shot of when Lace stabs her in the throat, right?
Yeah, that's the silhouette shot, is it? Because like,
Yeah.
yeah, kill shot and silhouette. That's what I wrote. Does that make this an art film? Which I think kind
Yeah.
of. I mean, yeah, there's already shots like that that you would not. Like Herschel Gordon Lewis didn't do shots like that.
No, this was really kind of like, I should say, like stagey or very theatrical, not as in cinema, but as in like the stage. I felt that was it was a tough moment because by the end, I mean, am I right? Like you're seriously involved with the struggle of these characters. Like it's not just something where you're like one just seeing everybody blown away. You actually have something invested in them.
Right, right. Well, you do want to. Of course, you want to see the baddies get their comeuppance or whatever.
Yeah.
Getting offed is pretty intense, I guess. Getting stabbed in the throat's always intense. So
Yeah, and plus the way they should do it, it's just right in the throat and then back out.
yeah,
Like,
hardcore. Class of
yeah.
Nukem High. I guess that would be the spiritual successor to a film like this.
You think so?
Sure.
Yeah, I could kind of see it. Why not? I do. Yeah, I do. I'm always, when I watch it, I'm always kind of trying to pick out like when exactly is this? You know what I mean? Because I don't think it was supposed to have been set in reality.
Right. Well, it's in like hyper reality, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that was, it's strange. Like it really kind of is. But it's a girl gang movie, and that's a subgenre that I really love. And so it ticks a lot of boxes and covers a lot more territory than the average girl gang or women in prison movie would.
So, what would be your favorite Jack Hill at this point?
Man, for a while it was Coffee, but I saw Coffee way too much. Uh, I think probably Swinging Cheerleaders.
Okay. Have I seen that? Maybe I haven't. Yeah. Okay.
Swinging Cheerleaders is a is a reality based sort of a movie, and he doesn't do the. It deals more with like very young characters, like it takes place in a college,
Hmm.
and so it's probably his most like outwardly feminist movie, but there's still things in it that, like you say, that date it. But there's excellent fight choreography in it, a lot of really good action. Bob Miner, the great Bob Miner, was stunt coordinator on that one. And so I want to say maybe he did stunts for Switchblade Sisters as well. And Bob plays a character. So it's I don't know. It's the one I tend to go to because I've got them all. Except I've never seen the Sorcerer or the Sorceress. What was the one that like he left halfway through it and someone like half-assed it to it was only the last movie he ever worked on. I can't even remember the name, but
Hmm.
I think it was Sorcerer, something like that. But that's the only one I don't have because it's not considered a complete Jack Hill movie, and he doesn't have anything good to say about it.
Yeah, I was thinking one thing that I noticed. I mean, maybe that one is more feminist because I was like watching this mostly because of Lace. This film doesn't maybe quite pass the Bechdel test because she just keeps
Oh,
going on and on about Dom like every time she can. So
yeah, that's true. Well, they were the Dagger Debs. So they were their own gang, but they were still the girlfriends of the proper dude gang. But then they completely throw it over. But there's that whole like jealousy part that that Lace has, coming in through Maggie. And so uh it yeah. She's got a there I know Dom's not the greatest guy.
no.
One of them calls him Dominic, and his scene, you were lousy. He's trying to do the, they're out of order, you're out of order.
Well,
No.
in the end, the only person in this movie that might have any kind of moral spine are the militants. I mean, because
No, it's
Maggie's
true.
our hero, but she's just as bad as Lace.
Yeah, no, and
Naturally.
that last shot of her getting loaded into the old school paddy wagon with their face all bloodied from fighting and stuff. Remember that name, cop. It was, so I think this one's satire. I would have to say.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would,
maybe that's why it's rolling through all of these different exploitation genres one by one.
yeah. I mean, I would call it satire. I don't think it's a comedy though. I think it means what it's saying, but I think it's like you were saying, it's scope and it's kind of like all over the place nature. He does bring it home at the end, and it does have a very strong act 3, especially that final scene. It's got a lot of crowd pleasing moments. But in terms of cult movies, yeah, everyone I've ever shown Switchblade Sisters to has like really loved it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, the one thing I can't get out is you don't eat icing off of a cake, especially not in America. That's just a bad call.
That does happen.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Japan, things are like, I guess, less sugary or more like kind of like toned down. So if I were to have like an American cake, I'd probably have diabetes at the end of eating the slice. So
No, you. Oh, and we should mention Lenny Bruce's daughter, Kitty Bruce, plays Donut.
oh, okay, I did not know that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, the great comedian Lenny Bruce's daughter, Kitty, plays the character of Donut, who they, make a lot of fat joke types and stuff like that. But she was my favorite Switchblade sister.
Yeah, I can see that. I put what I write. Donut is a way of thinking, man. I'm
Yeah.
not quite sure what that means, but
Well, who was the one, Bunny or whatever her name was? She was was just peddling ass in the men's room or whatever.
oh yeah, that was weird.
They're
They
giving her
shoved the
boyfriend the
dork
money.
in, shoved the
Yeah.
dork in, like, oh, you need this for your final. It's like, yeah, I didn't go to that school. But my high school experience was like too like pretty not it was too vanilla, a lot vanilla. There was a lot of vanilla. And
Not a
not
lot of
as a
fights then?
well, if you remember the school I went to, there was like the magnet program and then there was the regular program. And even the regular program was like pretty chill, I think, for a like some suburban high school. And then we're magnet program was a bunch of geeks. So
Yeah, I saw a lot of fights. One of the worst fights I ever saw was over like 15 cents.
I got 15 cents right here on my DVD player.
Well, I mean, it meant a great deal to this gentleman because it was a horrid fight. I mean, just lots of like things being thrown and just many, many head punches, and took few people like basketball coaches to pull these guys apart. And then the one guy is being dragged away and he moves a hand out and he's like, I got my change. And it was 15 cents. I just got to look in his hands. 15
well,
cents.
it's like the 5+ minute brawl and they live is like, put on the glasses. I don't want to put on the glasses. And then they fight forever.
That is one of my favorites. Absolutely.
we sometimes we forget the reason that fight started was put on the glasses. I don't want to put on the glasses.
They ought to redo that one, but it's a mask or get a vaccine. I don't want to get the vaccine.
The one, well, do you just throw a needle at someone in that case, right? You can do that. That should be the real fear. People that aren't going to do it. They flying needles, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what was like? Oh, the best fight I saw in school was actually maybe the first grade. Another Karate Kid reference today, where one kid tried to he was in the crane kick stance and then just got the crap pummeled out of him.
Oh, so the crane didn't work, or maybe poorly executed crane.
Well, he couldn't really execute it because he was getting the shit beat out of him.
So he got in position 1 and then
got punched in the face several times. So just in the cabin, he's like, oh, trying to do the crane kick.
Yeah, I didn't see Karate Kid. I saw Roadhouse.
Yeah, really. But two references to Switchblade Sisters. It's weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, you've made movies about girl gangs.
Oh man. I have named characters in my movies after characters in this movie. My friends and I here in Athens, Georgia, we make movies and we are called Gonzorific, GONZORIFFIC. You can find short films and trailers on YouTube. You can buy your physical medias at gonzorific.com. And that handle, Gonzorific, is on Instagram, Twitter, and FaceSpace.
Which film of yours is the one to follow up Switchblade Sisters?
Oh, Dr. Humpenstein. I
Okay.
mean, there is a girl gang in it, and there's a Maggie, a Lace, No, wait a minute. What was the? That's not the one where I named the characters. The one I named the character was in Dollface, also known as oh god, I can't remember that. We had a different name for the streaming title, but yeah, the beginning characters was like Patch, Lace, Bunny, Maggie. You know,
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because Humbenstein's the one that came to mind, but I didn't know if you had a short that was even more like intensely ingrained with this sort of thing.
it was no, it was Dollface. It was the one you and I were in with
Right.
the
Right.
killer dolls. But it was the prologue that happens.
Yeah. No, I remember that, and definitely
Yeah,
remember the nice black and white footage of your girl gang. I guess that's when you first ran to the roller team, is it?
I think I put out a call on Facebook. That was for Humbenstein, and it was just a lot of people, yeah, from roller derby came out for that, but there was also just random folks that there was a couple of people I didn't even know that ended up being like the coolest ones.
Well, that's
So
how
I
casting
remember,
works.
yeah, Matt Walker just brought a bunch of fake weapons and then like real like bats and chains and stuff, and just let everybody kind of grab out of it. Some of the businesses around there got nervous.
As they should. They see the
Well,
girl
I
gang
had
suiting
called to
up.
warn everyone, but it was like it was a weekend, so nobody was going to be there. But one that didn't answer their phone ended up being the one that was there, and they were like, "Oh god."
Anyway, this is Oral Hygiene or Oral Hygiene Pod on Twitter or on Facebook. You already know where to find the podcast because you're listening to it, but do get into that under the umbrella on Patreon of Podcastius. We put up episodes early, and there's other podcasts where we talk about sci-fi films, Pokemon, The Twilight Zone, Monster Hunter, some with me, some with not, some with you, some with not. So, okay. I guess I'm gonna go practice my stabbing.